I'm your co-host today, since he's not going to introduce me. My name is David Snow. All right. I guess my real name is Kiade. I mean, typically I tell people if I tell you that, you gotta go missing. But I'll be kind today.
Best friend from high school. We've been out of high school 10 years now.
Yeah, man. What grade we graduated? Like June 7th or 10th? It was like one of them days.
Yeah, June 10th, 2016.
Yeah, bro. June 10th, 2016. We'll be 10 years out of high school coming up soon, man. We're getting old. How you feel about that?
So today he's going to talk with y'all about what it was like for us going through high school, having a best friend like me who was disabled with cerebral palsy, and he's going to give you his take about some of the experiences we had, maybe share some stories depending on how long he wants to stay on here. I'm kind of leaving it up to him today about how long he wants this to be, but yeah, we're going to have some fun and see what way it goes.
Alrighty, man. Well, you slide out the way, young whippersnapper. I'll slide up some. Hey, man. Just because you got wheels don't mean you need to take mine. Alright? Alright, so, like I said, my name is Kiade Richardson. I had the pleasure of going to school with this young man right here. We graduated 2016. When we first graduated high school, I really wanted around. I really wanted a picture. What can I say? I mean, we didn't really have too many classes together. Freshman year, sophomore year, we didn't have any classes together. I believe, what did we have, senior year together? Or was it junior and senior?
Junior and senior.
Because we had math, right?
Yeah, we had math, and then,
It was one other class. It was one other class junior year, but we had math senior year with Mr. Peden, right?
Yeah.
Bingo, because we had a loaded class. We had me, you, we had me, you. It was a junior in there. We had juniors and seniors because Seth came. But moral of the story, man, like I said, I wasn't really around. I played football, baseball. I was more so focused on the grind, guys. My grades really weren't the best in first 2 years of high school. Played, like I said, played football, went and got a job. So I really wasn't around in school yet. I wasn't big in the picture. I was just running around the school doing a bunch of young, dumb stuff. But my junior year is when I became in the picture. You know, he was always around as far as sports goes. He had an older brother who played, well, I think he's the older one technically, but had a brother similar in age. He played baseball, did wrestling. So we played youth baseball together when we were like 13 or 14. And that's when I got familiarized with the Daughtry family in totality. Like I said, when we got to high school, freshman, sophomore year, I wasn't around. But junior year is when me and him had a class together. And that's when we became cool. My football coach was his one-on-one assistant throughout the day. So, and his assistant was technically my position football coach. So that brought me around him more. And as well, he was around as far as, like I said, sports. He would come out, do the banner with us, break out the banner.
You want to tell that funny story real quick?
Oh, yeah. So, like, sophomore year. Yeah, this was sophomore year. Sophomore year, we are doing, what is it, like, American Appreciation Week or something like that? Because then we have the American flags out and all that.
Yep.
You see the guy in the wheelchair over here. He's supposed to be wheeling out in the front with the team. We're supposed to break the seal with him. Like I said, as a sophomore, I really wasn't in the picture.
The cheerleaders were in charge of breaking the...
Yeah, they weren't paying attention at all. So,
they weren't paying attention to what was going on.
Like I said, I was in the back. I was known to be a back leader. Really wasn't a front guy yet. But we get to the front, and he's supposed to be pushing out of the banner. The banner is Velcro to the center. And when I mean to tell you, his wheels is just steady spinning, and the banner is not breaking. And you can see the buzz start to come out the front. So that's when the players had to break it down for him, and he starts to roll. So that's pretty
so that's probably in a high school gang reel, highlight reel somewhere.
Literally at the beginning of the game. But past that, man, you know, like I said, we had a class together my junior year, and that's what became cool. Number one thing, So this is not what I was told, but this is what was known about this guy. Owen used to be a mean guy. You know, they was like he's in a wheelchair, but he's an asshole. You know what I'm saying? Like if you give him the chance, he will run over your feet. That was the story when I was in high school. That's all I know. Like that's all I know. If you give him the chance, he'll run over your feet. So when you hold the door for him, make sure your feet is out of the doorway.
But you see, we're hanging out now, so I'm not that bad of a dude.
I mean, to each his own. Technically, he has a point. But you know, I mean, I can see that some days. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, the biggest thing is he an asshole or does he just want to be treated like everybody else? Catch that. So, and I'll elaborate on that later on in this podcast. But that's the big thing, man. You know, he really didn't bother me at all. You know, the running over the feet. Some days it used to piss me off when I had to help him out. You know, go to the next class, and that's how we got cool. You know, some days when the 101 assistant would have to leave class or something. If the class would end, he need water, I would do those little things for him. You know, just being a helping hand and just knowing that my football coach was somebody that was always around. So I just became I just mirrored what the football coach was doing in the time being. And when he would step out the class, I would just kind of step in and do those little things. But, and that's all I learned, you know, people who have certain disabilities, they want to be treated like everybody else. And when you learn that and you start to treat them like everybody else, well, it's easy to form friendships, right? And that's the biggest component that I learned from being like a 17-year-old to 18-year-old kid. Hell, man, we graduated. We had a very small graduation class, about, 94 that year we graduated?
It was
104. Was it 104?
120, somewhere around there.
All right, bet.
118?
I had to check it out. Moral of the story, I think I was ranked about 94 in the class or somewhere around there. That's why I know that number. Yeah, he was in like the top 20, top 15.
22.
So, with that being said, sometimes, you know, a lot of people get mad in class because they would feel like, oh, he's getting the help from the teacher. But in all reality, he would just be the only one trying to answer questions. So it really wasn't like he was getting extra help from the teacher, or, you know, sometimes he had the right answer. We just had to pull it out because he would stutter often because, you know, CP. So with that being said, dealing with a very smart guy right here, not going to lie to you. And that's kind of how we became friends as well because, like I said, I graduated like 94 in the class, around there, pretty high up out of all the total, about the last. But at the same time, he figured out that I was a smart guy. He was a smart guy. Smartness kind of plays hand in hand and become friends sometimes. So that's kind of what happened, man. I really don't like being the last in math class, so anytime he got the right answer, I felt like I had to get the right answer. And that's kind of how we formed that bond there. And like I said, just over the years, running over my feet when I had to hold the door and doing those little things, you know, that was aggravating. But even after graduation, man, I hung out. You know, I decided to stick around. I had some classmates that I see from time to time, but it's not like much. So really, you're looking at the one classmate that I hang out with the most. Like you said, we graduated 10 years ago. But whenever you treat people like, you know, normal and, you know, they have a disability, you realize how much of a person they are. And then you form friendships, relationships. And that's kind of where we're at in this thing. Throughout college, I went to ECU. He did his thing with Mount Olive College for a little bit, JCC. And from out of there, I mean, I just still came around. Like during COVID, you know what I mean? I still came around. During COVID, I came around. Even after that, you know, for my graduation, my gift for graduation was I came to spend time with him when I graduated from ECU, East Carolina University. Instead of attending my graduation, I was like, well, let me go spend time with somebody who matters more than the graduation. You know, so I did that for my graduation in 2021 from East Carolina University. So, you know, it's just all about building the lifetime bonds, lifelong bonds that are going to, you know, when in doubt, you know somebody who's not going to judge you. You know, honestly, I got a few people I can say, but not really too many. But you're looking at one of them. I know right or wrong. I'm not gonna be judged whether I tell him my truth or not. And honestly, that's a thing where that's really what keeps us strong and bond. You know, he can tell me anything. I'm not gonna judge him. I can tell him anything. He's not gonna judge me. And it's not really too many natural friendships that are out there in the world like that. Definitely not in adulthood, from childhood to adulthood. So, you know, it's all about cherishing those little small bonds that build you up in your life, I should say. You know, if that makes sense. So people, that's my message to you. If you are a student in school, a person who is around anybody who has a disability or a different challenge in every day, treat them like a normal person, and you will see the respect and the love that they gain for you. Because in the world full of disabilities and disabled people, there's not many who treat them like they're normal humans. And that's where the lack of really comes from, if that makes sense. You know, so that's my message to you guys. If you're a student, anybody who comes in contact with a person of disability, find a way to help. Don't find a way to look and stare. Um, find a way to stamp your foot note and be different, because it's a million eyes looking, but who's going to be that one to stand up and help? And that's my message to you guys on today of empower. I can never think of the name because it's long. Empowerability. There we go. Empowerability. I'm not using that word. All right, but empowerability.
And I will honestly say, this guy right here, one of the realest people you'll ever meet. I can text him, and I've done it before. I can text him at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and be like, bro, I'm really struggling right now. And he'll jump right in and be like, yo, what's the problem? How can I help? And you don't find too many people like that. You know, he'll deal with those moments when we're in public, and you've been a part of several of those moments where you see people who may not need the handicap space, but yet they park there anyway, and Kiade will see me voice my opinion about said person being parked in a handicap space when they're literally sprinting inside of the store because we've been there before.
Literally.
Or they'll block a curb cut or a ramp spot for me to get on the sidewalk. Or they'll, just like he said, we'll be walking in the store and I'll get 20 eyes on me. Like, people, what are you staring at? And Kiati will be like, yo, something like, what'd you say to the last guy? Yo, you want his number? It'll last longer or something.
Yeah, we were in Smithfield. But I mean, that's the big thing, man. I mean, life is, one thing I always said, life is not new. Life just repeats itself. So, one thing about it, the people with disabilities that you see in public, that's not the first person of disability that was seen in public. You know what I'm saying? So, it's not that deep. So, you as an adult need to find a way to be kind. And then you as an adult as well, people need to find ways to teach their kids to be kind. That's the big thing in society because kids don't know any better, right? And kids only know what they're taught in the home. And a lot of times, as adults, we don't want to admit that, hey, these kids are watching every single thing you do. It don't matter from how you use the bathroom, how you walk out the room, how you walk in the room when you walk in the house and greet the family. These kids are watching that. And a lot of the times, parents don't realize that the things that they do in the house, their kids don't show them, they show them at school. So with those things being said, parents, adults, we have to teach kids a better way if we expect people with disabilities to feel included in the classroom. And I understand sports is a little different, because that's different where kids, they want to go and do the fun things and but
Princeton also always found a way to include me, whether it was captain of the football team or honorary bat boy of the baseball team, throwing out the first pitch of the season for baseball, they'd always find a way to include me. And really, that's what I appreciated about Princeton High School, is that they always found a way to include me instead of making me feel excluded.
And I can't respect that, honestly. I like, real talk, you did not lie about that. Football, you was always there. Baseball, you was always there. The only thing we really never seen you at was track and field. I guess you didn't bring your running shoes for that, huh?
I will say, during field day, y'all always picked me for tug of war, and y'all tied a rope to the back of my chair. Remember? Go. That's like, nobody can pick on anymore. That's cheating,
I mean, that's fact. That's a fact, man. So, it's the way you find a way to have fun, man. That's the big thing for me. Just always having fun. And like, when we was in class, man, going around the halls, and we was having fun, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, it won't much you can say about the days that we had in school. Like, I can't say it was nothing bad. Like, any day we was in math class and Mr. Peden class and AFM, boy, we was in there cutting food.
Yeah.
So,
I can't be like, oh no, there's Owen and Kiana again.
Yeah, top right of the class, man, about to leave. So, that class was overall fun. I can't lie. That was a goated math class. We had a lot of crazy folks in there. Me, you, Seth. That was a loaded senior class.
Yeah. But then, I don't know if you remember this the way I do. During graduation practice, Miss Perry was our coordinator.
Yeah, come on, man.
She was like, I'm gonna need you to match the speed of your wheelchair to the downbeat
of the song. Hey, yo, Miss Perry's strict,
of the pop and circumstance. So she literally wanted me to drive to the downbeat of pop and circumstance.
I'm saying, listen. You gotta find a way to get it done, man. That's Miss Perry. She not taking no for an answer.
And I'm like, would you prefer that I get out of the wheelchair and you demonstrate exactly how I'm supposed to do that? Cause
hey man, what you do is listen. Every time there's a beat, the dunk, you gotta stop and you gotta keep rolling. You gotta keep rolling. That's all you do, man. That's all you gotta do. That is all you gotta do.
Yeah. But there, we can sit here all day and reminisce about high school stories. But the main point of all this is find that group of friends. Find that one person as a disabled individual who is going to treat you like any other guy while still recognizing, hey, there's some things we're going to have to do differently and adapt because of your situation, but that's not going to limit the level of our friendship.
Hey, disclaimer, man. Listen, I'm not even going to lie to you. I just had a funny thought. One thing when I was in high school, the funniest mess ever. I used to have a hard time with his left hand. Like, I used to think he could do everything with his left hand. Hey, man, showing the lefty. Hold it out. Let me see it. Extend them fingers. Hey, man, listen. When I was in high school, he used to be like, can you hand me this? Or can you pass me my water? Bro, I'm left-handed, so naturally, I will put everything on his left side. Boy, it was so many times he was like, well, I can't grab that. Hey, listen. Hey, man, it took me like a whole year and a half to know, like, hey, it's his left hand. He can't do nothing with it. I used to try to put his pencil in his left hand. I'm trying to tell you.
And he fall right on the floor, dude.
Hey, boy, I'm bad off. And it wasn't on purpose. Just know, it was funny every time it happened, though. Oh, my goodness.
You don't remember that time we were in PE and they just got a whole bunch of new, like, gym equipment and they had the bubble wrap, man.
Oh, yeah, they did you wrong for that. They
did you wrong in that. They had the bubble wrap around it and then somebody was like, yo, Owen, run over this.
Hey, listen, they should have wrapped you in it.
And when I ran over it, it was so loud that people were people were coming in from other classrooms going, "What was that? That was so loud. Was that like a..."
Had to be the big bubbles.
was that a, is everybody okay? Did something fall on someone? It was just when he ran over some bubble wrap. It's good. And then, an adaptive PE teacher would come in and do adaptive PE with me, and I'd hop in my walker and...
What was her name?
Try to race people around. Miss Luce, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And then,
tall blonde hair.
Yeah. And so the moral of the story of all this, guys, is we're about to wrap this up, but the moral of all this is, again, find that one guy that's going to stick beside you and never judge you for any disability you might have. Because Keade, with me especially, he was like, "We're going to figure out a way for you to do this."
Damn right.
Like we might have to adapt and change some stuff around, but you're not going to be excluded just because you're in the situation you're in.
Right.
If the whole football team needs to come and pick you up,
are we going?
For you to go somewhere, then that's the way it's going to happen. So, there's ways, and I came out of my shell a lot by the end of high school, first of college, but we're actually talking about this one of the last times you were over. If I'd have had that confidence in myself all the way through school, starting from freshman year, I would have, done so much better socially in school. But once Keade started coming around, he started opening me up to do a whole lot more because he didn't place those limitations on me.
No, that's a real fact.
So, again, guys, we might end it right here because, we're going to play some video games, and I'll cut and edit all of this later and talk to my buddy Earl, who's been helping me with some technical stuff. Don't forget to like, share, follow social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and my book, Different But Special, is on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And be on the lookout for more.
I can sell it to you for $5.
Amazing people coming on this podcast. I'd like to thank Keade today for taking the time out to come on here with me and tell you guys a little bit about our story. So, my man Keade right here.
David Snow.
And
David Snow. And
we're going to end this right here. Thanks, guys. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. And look at me right there. Repeat of high school running into Keade.
Literally. I thought the same thing.